to my channel, Maze's Life, where I'm terrible at managing money but trying to get better. So with today's video, I wanted to go over my December 2025 budget. I know it's still December as of filming this, it's December 27th, but I received my first January paycheck on Monday, and I wanted to go ahead and get this video up so that way I can have my January monthly budget up for you as well next week. So in this video, I'm going to go over my entire month of December as well as updating you for the week 4 of December. So if this type of content interests you, please like, please comment, and please subscribe. But let's go ahead and get started. So if you are new to this channel, then this probably looks normal to you. But if you see my other monthly updates on my budget, or should I say weekly updates on my budget, there have been things that have changed, not just from week 3, but also from week 1 when I first created this monthly budget. As I've said before, I like to mess around with my budget week to week and change the numbers around. I don't know if that's a good thing, but it's just something I've always done. So, for my income, let's go ahead and get started at the top. For my income, as you noticed last week, it did increase the $31. But then for this week, you can see here that for the dad section, I added it. It says $50. That is because, if you watched my last week's video, I had my car broken into. They tried to steal it. I do drive a Hyundai. But my car can't be stolen the same way that the Hyundais and the Kias get stolen on TikTok. So in the past 3 years, my car has been broken into at least 6 times. I have tried all different things to prevent them breaking into my car and trying to steal it. I've had a clean car. Well, then the homeless try to sleep in it, or just try to sit in there when it's raining, charge their phone or charge some device. I can just tell because I've seen where they mess with the ports, the charging ports. And my car does not charge if the car is not on. Like I said, they try to sleep in it a few times. It's an SUV, and they've also tried to steal it quite a few times. Sometimes when it's clean, sometimes when it's dirty, so it's just the cost of where I live. So if you're asking, okay, why is there $50 there? Well, I was talking to my mom about it while I was sweeping up the glass from the parking lot, and I was like, great, this is $200, this sucks. I didn't mention anything about needing the $200, but I did need the $200. But she's like, don't worry, your dad's gonna send you $200 right now. I was like, oh, thank you. I didn't even ask for it, they just sent it right away. And the $50 is because that was what was left over. It didn't actually end up costing $50. Sorry, $200. It cost $150. And then I kept the other $50. Alright, so week to week, my parking in week 4, it went down negative $33.55. And if you're wondering why, that is because I get refunds at work for travel expenses, whenever I have to go anywhere that's further than 50 miles from where I live. And then I also had to pay $5 for the bus. That was within 50 miles of where I lived. So that is why it says negative $33.55. Then if I were to, let's see if I can do this here. If I can just show you at the beginning of the month, hopefully you can see this. At the beginning of the month, my budget was $75 for parking and for work. Now, after the entire month, I ended up changing my budget to be a negative $180, and then I spent negative $181.62. Negative. And that's because previously I was going to get my graduation video edited, and I decided to no longer get the graduation video edited, to be able to afford more Christmas presents, essentially. And then also, I received 3 refunds at work. I was only expecting to receive these 2, but then like I said, I ended up receiving another refund. So that's just one way of how I like to change my budget week to week, and as I've also said, I changed it since week 1. For my renters and car insurance, that has stayed the same. My rent and car insurance comes out of my paycheck the last week of the month, so this is actually an amount that stays there month to month. Whenever I make a copy of a new budget, there are certain amounts that stay the same. So this is one. This apartment utilities bill stays the same. The security bill will stay the same. And then my phone bill will stay the same, but electricity and stuff will change. So now let's move down to household. So I originally budgeted $20 since the beginning of the month, but it has since changed to $25, and that was to pay for laundry. I do not have laundry in unit, so I have to pay to take my clothes to get washed and cleaned and dried somewhere else. Alright, this electronics Wi-Fi category stays the same month to month. This carries over. And then I left this in here. So as you all have heard me say, I like to change the amounts and I like to update my budget. That's because I like for all of this to be white and not be green or red. So when I update my budget, it is like this. I see that I have $12.75 left in this category. I've spent $87.25. I do not like for it to be green, so then I'm going to change this gas amount to either $85 or $90. I'm going to choose 90. And there, it says, it turns white. And I'm only doing that because I will not get gas tomorrow. I will not have any expenses tomorrow. I'm going to church and Bible study and then right back. And I have enough gas in my tank to do that. Then, to even this out, I go to my applied debt section. And I will just add the $11.01 there. And then I'll take this amount. Oh, sorry, I did not add in that 1 cent. There we go. And then I'll take this 1972 here and I'll just throw it into any empty section. And it's okay if this is red because after today I will no longer look at this budget. So this being red right here will not bother me. And that is how I end up changing the different amounts on my budget for my expenses. So with going back up, because I did jump around. So now to go back up to the gifts section, I spent negative $10.46, and that is because I refunded one of the items that I had purchased. And I am very good about refunds. I will typically do a refund within a week. I do not wait until last minute. And that is just because it helps with my budget. Alright, food out. I was planning on going out one time this week. I ended up going a second time because my friend texted me and she's like, I really need to talk to you. Answer the phone. I said, okay. She's like, hey, I'm in a situation. This girl, she doesn't have any friends. Can we take her to dinner? And I'm like, fine. So I ended up taking this random girl that I did not meet to dinner. And I paid for a portion of it. So that is why my food out was much more expensive this week. When I had originally only budgeted $20 and I spent $20.21 even after the tip. So there, if I were to bring up my previous month's tracker, you can see here my food out originally for December was $50 and then it ended up being $130 by everything was said and done. Gifts was originally supposed to be $100, and then ended up changing to $610, and that was because I ended up not purchasing any gifts for my nieces and nephews during Black Friday, and instead I pushed it all to December. So this is just, you see, for interest payments, I spent only $80 instead of budgeted being $115. So, applied to debt, I was originally going to put $1,700. Instead, I put $1,381.01. Alright, here you have, or as you can see, my car being fixed. It was fixed that next Monday for $150. Groceries, I spent $5 on a Christmas ham. And then health, this is one of those things that stays in my budget month to month. It is my my chiropractor monthly membership. Then the last thing is $4. That $4 went to some Bible reading trackers. I get a lot of my debt-free trackers from debtfreecharts.com, and they are all free. This website has dozens of free trackers for anyone in almost any financial situation for free. However, their Bible trackers, which I like, and I tried to make my own, but theirs was so much better, was $4, and I decided to splurge, and I got these Bible trackers. So originally at the beginning of the month, this financial section was $0, and it ended up being $25, with me actually spending $23.92. Now, with this applied to debt section, this $1,972, this is the amount of money that's left in my debit, or let me phrase that, in my checking account, and so then I'll just transfer that over to my credit card that I'm working on. This month was my first month using only my debit card, and so there was a few of these purchases that were on automatic payments to my credit card, so I actually have more than this in my account because this chiropractor payment and this gym membership was on my credit card. So I will be transferring more than $1,972, but once I transfer it, my balance in my account will be $0. Minus what I have to save in there for my renters and car insurance, but oftentimes I'll just pay that early so that way I can make sure that I don't transfer too much. Alright, so that is it. That is the breakdown of my December 2025 monthly budget. It's pretty much an audit of the entire thing. Thank you for following along. If you stayed to the end of the video, I'd love to have you join this debt-free journey with me. So hit subscribe, click the like, leave a comment down below if you would like, especially if you have, any advice or suggestions on how I budget. I've never thought that the way that I budget was normal, but like I said, I like to do it so that way I just have all whites in this column consistently throughout the month. But anyways, my next video will be out tomorrow, and if you have any advice for me whatsoever, just go ahead and leave it down, and I will actually have another video instead of my January budget just in case. But other than that, thank you, and until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.